Hey my YouTube fam, today I'm going to turn this pair of leggings or two into a Fashion Nova style romper, and I'm going to jump right into this video. I'm using two pair of leggings, needle, thread, scissors, measuring tape, and fabric glue today. With my first pair of leggings, I'm lying them flat, folding one leg over the other, measuring down from the top of the waistband 13 inches, and I'll make a cut straight across. You now have a pair of shorts. Using my flexible stretchable glue, I'm going to create a 1-inch hem on each leg. Watching is the best way to learn with my videos rather than me just telling you the step-by-step methods. You want to give at least a 2-hour drying time when you're using glue. Now with the bottom cut of your leggings, that extra fabric, we're going to use this to make a 2-inch wide cut. This is to create our ribbon tie. And as you see in the video, you're now going to split that fabric in half, so you'll end up with 2 cuts of fabric for 2 separate ribbon ties. And now all I did was run the glue along the edge portion of the tie, folded it over, and I'm going to repeat that step just so I'll make my ribbon a little more narrow. I'm going to tie each ribbon in a knot, so when I go to attach it to the shorts on each side, it'll look as if I tied them in a knot. Now on your shorts, make a 8-inch measurement from that center front seam, pin it, and you're going to use the scrunch method with your stitching to create a scrunch, as you can see in the video. And I attach my knotted ribbon. And it's time for our second pair of leggings. Now I'm using my second pair of leggings, and I folded one leg over the other so that the butt seam is exposed. I made a 4-inch cut, removing that butt seam. And now as you see, there is a V shape in the crouch area. The back of the leggings now becomes the front of my top. I measured from the top of the waistband 22 inches down, removed the excess fabric. And this is the top portion of the romper. It's time to remove the waistband off of the back of your top, so flip it over. Start cutting up that first side seam, and then you're going to cut across from that seam over to the other seam. And be careful not to cut the front portion of that waistband. You're only removing the back portion of the waistband. And here we have it all cut out. Using my flexible stretchable glue, I'm going to create a hem on every area where I just cut away the waistband from, across the back and the side seams, just to close everything off. I'm also creating a 1/2 inch hem on my sleeves and a 1/2 inch hem on the front and back V section of my top. These hems just make everything look nice and neat and sealed off. Remember to give your glue at least a 2-hour drying time before you continue to work with your fabric. And as you see, everything has been glued out, sleeves and the V-neck area. Also, before wearing the romper, give it at least a 48-hour complete drying time. Now it's time to create a scrunch on the front portion of our top. And what I'm doing is starting 3 to 4 inches from the V section of the top to give it that scrunch effect. I'm going to make my measurement here after I scrunch it, just so I'll know how much elastic to cut. And I'm using about maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. And you'll see the stitching method to apply the elastic to the scrunch area. If you need further assistance with this, please refer to one of my leggings scrunchy booty videos, which will show you in detail how to scrunch as well as how to attach your elastic to that scrunch section. And it's just basically using that looping where you're going to go under, pull through, wrap your thread around, or loop your thread over rather. And that's because you're attaching something to the fabric, and this will give it a secure hold. Cut it, tie it into a knot, and you're ready to go. Here's your top and your bottom portion of the romper. It's now time to attach the two. And I'm going to use all-purpose thread here. I'm not using the stretchy thread simply because I want to give this a complete secure hold. There will be tension on this romper, so you don't want any mistakes of anything detaching. So what I did was to lay my waistband of the top on top of the waistband of the shorts, and I lined up each seam on each end of the romper, and I pinned it out before I started to stitch. This way it'll remain in place while I'm going forward with my stitching. Now, as you can see, everything's pinned out, and I am going to sew across the top of that band as well as across the bottom of the band, but it's completely optional. But I do advise stitching across either, if you're going to stitch across, make sure it's across at least the top of that band. That's a better smoothing effect for you. Now, we're using that looping method, and I'm going to stitch up the side seam, then across the front of the band and down the side seam on the opposite side. And this is the completed romper, all attached. I'm now going to go ahead and use the extra fabric to make a ribbon, which would be used for the scrunch effect on the back portion of the romper. So I'm going to make the same cuts using the same steps followed on the first ribbon, but the only difference is I'm not making a knot, and I'm going to attach those two ribbons together. I'm cutting up the back seam of the romper, and this is so I can prepare it to add the ribbon for the scrunching effect. About 1 inch away from the cut, I laid the ribbon and then folded the fabric over and pinned it. So as you see here, I make a loop and then repeat the same steps on the opposite side. When you're sewing your seam to close in your ribbon, make sure your ribbon is out of the way so that it's not caught up in the thread, because you're going to need to move that ribbon around. And I'm using all-purpose thread here with the down-up stitching method, as you can see here in the video. And we're going to close it off with the looping stitch method. Cut it after we knot it up. And I need about 2,000 likes on this one, YouTube fam, so let your girl know if you like this video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment field, and I'm more than happy to answer those for you. Hold your loop, push your fabric downward, and scrunch. And now here's the completed look. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. And thanks, YouTube family.